Hi everyone, this is James from Barbechoo.com, and today we're making a side dish that I have an unhealthy obsession with: mac and cheese. Welcome back to yet another cook on the channel, and this one is one of my favourites, be it barbecue, not barbecue, just in general. I love mac and cheese. So this one's a little bit special. There's a little bit of bacon mixed through it. We use 3 different cheeses in it, and of course it's all done on the barbecue. So before we go any further, I want to jump over to the barbecue and show you how I've got it set up. We're using lumpwood charcoal today in the Weber kettle, and we're using the charcoal baskets because I need to change configurations a few times throughout this cook. So I'll explain a little bit more once we're over the top of the barbecue. For the first part of this cook, we want the skillet over sort of medium-high heat. So this basket here, I have slightly less charcoal in it, and I'll be able to leave this sitting where it is, place the skillet over the top of it, and that'll give me the heat I need. Then at the later part, whenever we're baking this, I want a nice high heat to get that crusty cheese on top. So I can move these. The other thing I should mention is a 35cm skillet I'm working with, so it takes up a good bit of the cooking grate. So setting these in the usual configuration, I'm going to have too much of the skillet overhanging the edges, so these can then be pulled around into this formation, which gives me enough room then to place the skillet here. Plus this one here, slightly more charcoal in it, so with the lid on, that's going to get me a really high indirect heat. But whenever I'm cooking over the direct heat, I can just use this single basket with the lid off, and that'll keep my skillet at the temperature I need. So you want to get your skillet on there and preheat a little bit of oil in it, and then we're going straight in with some bacon lardons. This is actually bacon I made myself, so I cured it and smoked it myself, and I've done that with the Angus and Oint cure. So if you want to watch the video on how to make bacon, you can click up here. So put them in while the skillet is quite cold. To really render out that fat, you want to bring the bacon up to temperature slowly. You don't want to throw it into a screaming hot pan, or that bacon just tenses up. So put them in. There should be a light sizzle whenever you put them in, but they should gradually come up then, and that's what renders out all that fat and makes them nice and crispy. And once your bacon is nice and golden and brown, remove that with your tongs or a slotted spoon, and you want to leave all that bacon fat in there, and then we're going straight in with the butter. So we're going to use butter and flour to make a roux. So once that butter is completely melted, go in with your flour. I've actually seasoned this flour with a little bit of barbecue rub, so about 2 tablespoons of barbecue rub into the flour, and then put it in there and keep it moving. Now your temperature at this point should be sort of medium to high direct heat. So keep that in there, keep it moving about, and it will eventually form a thick paste, and then you need to start going in with the milk, and this is going to make the basis of our sauce. So add the milk in a little bit at a time. Don't freak out, it will go all clumpy, but just keep it moving and keep it over the heat, and eventually that will start to thin out. Then add a little bit more milk until eventually you've added it all. Then allow that to come to a simmer. It should have thickened up slightly with all that flour in there, but now we're going to add our cheese. So we have 3 different kinds of cheese. We have smoked cheese, a mature cheddar, and also then mozzarella. Now you'll see in the recipe link below, there's cheese kept back to top this with once you're finished, so you're only adding the cheese at this point that goes into the actual sauce. So you can dump that all in there at once. I like to add it in half at a time just to make sure it melts down properly, and then keep moving that about, and that'll eventually form your cheese sauce. So when all that cheese is melted and it's nice and smooth, add back in half of your bacon, keep the other half back to top this with, and then you're going in with your pasta. So I've just boiled 375 grams, I think it is. Check the recipe description below. Boil 375 grams until it's just under finished. You don't want it to be completely cooked. So I believe the term for it is al dente. So add that in and mix that through that cheese sauce, and then go on with your toppings. So we're going on with our mozzarella, just shred that up on top. The rest of our mature cheddar, and then obviously the rest of the bacon as well. Then we switch that barbecue setup as we talked about at the start of the video, so it's a fully indirect and there's nothing directly underneath the skillet. Put the lid on and then just let that bubble away, and we'll lift that off once it starts to get a nice golden crust on top. Everything in this is already cooked, so we're only really waiting on that sauce to thicken up a little, and also to get that nice golden crust on top. Mac and cheese will forever remain my all-time favourite side dish, no matter what. If you want to try something else, you can click here to watch my video on how to make barbecue pit beans, another great barbecue side. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you haven't already, subscribe to the channel, and I will see you in the next video.